So if you're like a lot of homeowners out there that you want to move, you need to sell your home before you can purchase your next one, you're really worried about doing that before you found your next property, this is the video you need to stay tuned for and watch, because we're going to show you a program that's going to allow you to purchase your next home before you sell your current one. So stay tuned. I am here today with Irvin Lopez with All Western Mortgage, and he is going to talk to us about an exciting program that could literally help you buy your next home before you sell your current one. So how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Oriana.
Awesome. Great. So I know that this program actually blew my mind when you told me about it, and I am super excited that you're here to share this, because people need to know that they have options. And this is a great option. One of the first questions that I know a lot of people are going to ask: how does the program allow homeowners to actually buy before selling their current one if they need the equity in their current home to buy their next home?
So what we've seen in the current market, there's a common problem is that a lot of homeowners have their equity locked up, or it's locked up or in equity purgatory, equity jail if you want. So what this program allows to do is, if there is like a replacement home, or if there's their quote unquote, I don't like to say dream home, but home for the next 5 to 10 years that they automatically cannot live without, what we will do is we will buy the property cash for them on their behalf, and we'll buy it cash within 10 days.
That's pretty amazing. So you're actually going to work with whoever's representing the seller or the homeowner to make a cash offer, which automatically makes the offer stronger at whatever the homeowner was going to want to pay for the property, which would make their offer actually stronger. Not only is it not contingent, but it's all cash.
Correct.
That's amazing. And then you hold the property for the homeowner while they're selling their current home.
Correct. So ideally, we will buy the property cash in 10 days, right?
Okay.
And let's say you're representing the buyer, you represent the buyer, we buy the property cash, and then it gives you time. Ideally, hopefully you sell their departing residence within 60 days.
No pressure, but yes.
No pressure, but also it makes it easier for them too. But it also, it eliminates that ability of, if you're offering a cash offer, it eliminates you getting into a bidding war, correct? It eliminates the fear or the anxiety of missing out on the property that you really want, because you have to offer contingent.
So how does it differ from like these programs that other lenders are offering with these crazy high fees to buy before you sell?
Correct. So there are other lenders that offer similar programs. So on $1 million purchase price, just to give you round numbers, most lenders charge you 2 points, so $20,000 for the fee, right? And there's typically the rate that they're offering is anywhere between 11 and 12%.
Per month?
Per month or per day, right? So they call it per day or per month. So, that's where
pretty expensive.
So it can become
a lot of money.
100%, and that's where it turns a lot of people off. Some lenders use it as a hook, but they don't tell them the fine print. With our program, we call it the Home Simple program. It's not a profit center for us. So there is no points that we charge up front, okay? Obviously, what happens is we buy the property on our line of credit as a company. So on our LLC. So today's rate for that is 8%. So what we just pass on to the consumer or the borrower when they buy the property back from us is just the holding cost. So what we'd like to do is we set up a meeting with you and your client so they know the whole details of the ins and outs of the program. And also to motivate them, say, hey, the longer that we hold the property, the longer you got to pay us back. So it's in with your own incentive to get the property ready.
Property ready and sold quickly.
Yeah.
And I know what you guys are going to ask. Well, how much is it going to cost me? We're getting there, so keep watching. So the second question I have is, what are the biggest misconceptions about buying before selling?
I think the biggest misconceptions is the cost, right? Also, and lenders say they can do it, but are they really qualified? Do they have enough equity on the departing residence to qualify for that new payment as well?
Right.
So what we do, the simplest thing is to eliminate that is, if they don't qualify holding 2 mortgages, because some consumers do, they can qualify holding 2, but the majority of Americans or homeowners don't, right?
Right. And
So
they're not going to, who's going to want to pay 20 or 30 grand on top of, I mean, people have done it. I know there's, online programs, that will do this. So who qualifies for this type of loan and what are the requirements?
So typically the requirements, they have to get fully approved with us up front.
Okay.
So we look at what they qualify for.
For the property that they're ultimately going to be buying back.
Correct.
Got it.
And then even another, to go into more detail, and we'll be conservative on the appraisal value. So if you tell us, hey, Irv, it'll come in at a million, I'm using that, we'll be a little bit conservative and use 950 as net proceeds just in case
Okay.
the property doesn't sell. So we're also being conservative on that. And then with that $50,000 delta, we also say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. homeowner, we're going to use these numbers for now. So at least you qualify just in case it doesn't appraise, you don't get enough traction that you want to, you don't think you don't get the offers that you want. Not saying the market's not, sometimes it's timing. Sometimes the property may have to sit longer for them to get the purchase price that they want.
For the property they're selling.
Right.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
I
Sometimes,
think so. So then I just thought of another question. You're buying the property, you're holding it. Let's say it takes 2 months. When they sell their property and now they're ready to do the loan on the property that you bought for them, what happens if the appraisal changes? Is
so
it reappraised at that point, or are you financing them at the number that you paid for it 2 months ago?
So that's a great question. So the appraisal that we have at purchase, that is the same appraisal that we use.
I love that. Thank you, because anything can happen in 2 months. So that would be my question if I was going to do something like this. So how does this benefit sellers financially compared to the traditional process? They put their home on the market, they make it contingent on them finding their replacement property, the way that I've basically helped people buy and sell for years.
No, correct. I think this tool, I like to call it, it's an emotional one. It's like, hey, I've been waiting. And the cliche examples like, hey, you have a homeowner's like, hey, I want to sell my house, but I haven't found the replacement home. And the replacement home shows up 2 blocks down the road. And they've been waiting 2 years for that property or that type of layout to show up. So the emotional component comes out. So from the number standpoint, yeah, it makes more sense. Sell your property, wait, then sell contingent for the cost. But the other thing is this, let's say you have, and I'm going to use a $1 million loan amount, for example, right? Let's say the property is desirable, lists for $1 million. There's bidding wars that happen. You see that, the bidding wars can, property goes up an extra 50,000, right? 1.05. So if we bring in a cash offer at $1 million, right?
Yeah.
You're not paying that extra 50,000. You're just paying, let's call it the 2 months that you'd have to pay back to us for holding the property, which would come out in that amount to about $12,600. So yeah, you're paying the $12,600 delta or premium to us, but you're not paying an extra 50,000 to get into the bidding war. So you're still
Ahead.
Yeah.
Where I see this being a real benefit, especially now that we're seeing bidding wars again with the interest rates dropping, is if somebody is going to have to sell and they are making contingent offers, a cash offer that can close quickly, especially if the property is vacant, is way more attractive to a seller than a contingent offer where a buyer has a property they need to sell first. So I think that's the most obvious, I think.
So then I have a question for you. Is it easier to sell once the homeowners are out of the property?
Oh, yeah.
And then you can potentially stage or do whatever or clean it up or...
Yes and no. It depends on the homeowners and what, and how their property shows. If it's a homeowner that has a lot of things and clutter and they have kids and animals and showings are going to be challenging, absolutely. It's way easier for them to move before they put their home on the market. Way easier. Then they don't have to deal with the hassles of keeping the house perfect, 24/7 and making it available for showings when they're trying to navigate kids and pets. So I think it just depends on the situation. Piper is riveted. We have put her to sleep. I am her emotional support human, which is why she's on my lap right now. So there you have it. So let's talk about the costs.
Okay.
How does it work? And let's use a case study of a property that someone is buying for, let's keep it simple, $1 million.
Okay. So obviously they have to get fully approved with us, right? So it's not a profit center for us to buy the property for them on their behalf. So where we, make our money is then they do the loan with us when they buy the property back from us.
Right.
So on an $1 million purchase price, for example, they do have to have their own liquids of 5% earnest money deposit with us.
With you. So
Yeah.
they have a deposit in with you
Correct.
to hold the property, which to me sounds reasonable.
Right.
And then for each month that you're holding it, about what does that cost?
So on a $1 million purchase price, that comes out to $6,666 per month at an 8% rate, or $222 a day. Now, in the extreme situation where you've gotten the property technically ready, ideal world, you can get it closed in 14 to 20 days. So they wouldn't absorb the full month, right? It's just the per diem until they sell the property to the new homeowner of the departing residence.
And the clock starts from when you close and take the property on. So potentially you could make an offer for 20 or 30 days to close, which buys the homeowner a little, I'm just thinking, you guys, this is how my brain works, which would give the homeowner a little bit more time to get their home ready while they're in escrow on this property. And that would shave off some time from when the clock starts ticking after the close.
Correct. So in theory, they may only need to pay for 14 days of per diem. So that 6,666 turns into 3,333. But,
Yeah.
it is, and we don't want the buyer to accumulate the cost. We want them to get in their new house.
Right.
We want you to.
You're going to make your money on the loan from when they get their normal loan on what they're buying, which would be just like any other. Like that loan isn't going to be affected. It would be the same as them buying a home and taking a loan out. Right?
Correct. Yeah.
I love this. I love options. Options are good. Yes.
Yes, 100%. And it's a tool.
It's a tool, but I think it's a great option.
Right. And it eliminates, it's like, how do we provide value without charging the consumer exorbitant costs with an extremely high interest rate, and for them still to get the benefit of it? And then, it's a win-win.
Right. So just to put it in perspective, guys, because again, this is just another way to look at it. Let's say you sold your house and decided you were going to stay in an Airbnb while you were closing the deal on your new home. You're not even going to find an Airbnb or a hotel for $222 a day. So in my mind, that's where the value comes in, and you don't have this high percentage yield up front to do this buy before sell. And I think financially it's a great option or a great tool.
No, I think it's 100%, because when you look at it, how long are they going to wait till that next property comes on the market?
Yeah.
And what other properties, year over year nationally, appreciation went up 4%. What if that next property doesn't come up for another 6 months to a year, and they're still buying that property at a higher price?
Yes. No, I think it's a great option. Last question, unrelated to this, because of course I want to ask you what you're seeing with the rates, how you're seeing the changes in the market. Buyer applications have gone up. Just really quick, let's give me a market update. And
Sure.
Just whenever this video comes out, we are towards the end of March, and so go for it.
Applications across the board for purchase and refinance are up 40% from a month ago. Rates have dipped about a percentage point here mid to late March from the holidays.
Yeah.
So and if you're a first-time home buyer, a lot of them are opting to do a 7-year ARM at 5.875 that is available, because nobody likes a 6 in front of the rate. So,
and if the rates are moving downwards, why lock yourself into a 30-year fixed at with much higher monthly payments.
100%. And I think it's right now with the nasty T word that's going on with tariffs, it's creating volatility in the market. So it's creating a safety net for bonds, and that's why rates have dropped in the past
At least
few
one
weeks.
good thing is coming out of this. That's
Yeah.
a whole nother conversation.
Conversation for another day.
Conversation for another day, different video. All right, well, thank you very much, Irvin. I appreciate it. You guys, you really should check out this buy before sell program. If you have questions, the QR code is on the screen. Reach out. Happy to put you in touch with Irvin, and his information will be down below. And if you are thinking about buying and selling, check out our next video. Thanks.